For centuries, money has been controlled by banks, a system that represents stability, trust, and power, but also bureaucracy, fees, and dependence. On the other hand, just over a decade ago, a new player was born: cryptocurrencies, free, decentralized, and accessible to anyone with internet. Today, these two worlds collide. On one side, central banks and financial institutions that dominate the global system. On the other, a digital revolution that promises to return control to the people. The question is inevitable: can they coexist? Or are they destined to clash in a battle for the future of money? To understand the clash, we must first understand how banks operate. When you deposit money into a bank account, that money isn't locked away in a vault. Banks use it to provide loans, invest, and generate profit. In fact, banks create money through the fractional reserve system. For every dollar deposited, they can lend out several more. Central banks control monetary policy, printing money, or raising interest rates as needed. This model has provided relative stability to the global financial system, but at a cost: high fees for simple services like transfers, bureaucracy, and slowness in international operations. Financial exclusion: millions worldwide lack access to a bank account. Total dependence on institutions and governments that, as seen in 2008, can also fail. The banking system works, but not for everyone, and not always fairly. Cryptocurrencies were born as an alternative to that system. In 2008, after the financial crisis, a document published by Satoshi Nakamoto introduced Bitcoin. The idea? A decentralized electronic cash system where transactions are recorded on a transparent blockchain without banks or intermediaries. The concept is simple, but revolutionary. Anyone can send money anywhere in the world in minutes. No need for banks or government permissions. Bitcoin's supply is capped at 21 million, preventing uncontrolled inflation. In other words, be your own bank. With the rise of thousands of cryptocurrencies and blockchain technology, new solutions like stablecoins and DeFi have taken financial independence to the next level. For traditional banks, cryptocurrencies are a real threat. Why keep your money in a savings account paying minimal interest when you can deposit it into a decentralized finance DeFi platform with higher returns? Why pay expensive fees for international transfers when you can send Bitcoin or USDT in minutes for cents? Cryptocurrencies eliminate the need for intermediaries, the foundation of the banking business. Stablecoins act like savings accounts in digital dollars. DeFi lending allows access to capital without bank approval. Crypto investment platforms offer returns that rival traditional financial products. For banks, the risk is clear: losing power, customers, and relevance in an increasingly digital world. In response, banks and governments haven't stood idle. Some countries have chosen to ban or restrict cryptocurrencies, citing risks of money laundering and tax evasion. China, for example, restricted crypto operations while developing its own digital yuan. Others decided to adapt. Banks in Europe and the US now offer cryptocurrency custody and Bitcoin trading services. Even giants like JP Morgan and Goldman Sachs have started investing in blockchain. But government's strongest response is the development of CBDCs, central bank digital currencies. These digital currencies aim to combine blockchain technology with the same centralized control. In theory, they offer speed and accessibility. In practice, they mean more control and less privacy. The strategy is clear. Some banks resist, others integrate, and governments try to reclaim control with their own digital versions of money. We're witnessing a clash of models. On one side, cryptocurrencies representing freedom, decentralization, and financial sovereignty. On the other, banks and governments defending a system based on centralized trust. The tensions are evident. Governments fear capital flight into crypto. Banks see customers preferring digital wallets over savings accounts. Crisis-hit countries turn to Bitcoin as an alternative, like El Salvador. Are we facing a financial war? History shows that when disruptive technology appears, the system first resists, then regulates, and eventually transforms. With crypto, we are right in the middle of that process. The outcome of this clash is yet to be written. Scenario 1: cryptocurrencies replace much of traditional banking services. Scenario 2: banks and crypto coexist with regulation and service integration. Scenario 3: governments suppress free crypto use, imposing CBDCs as the only legal option. Most likely, we'll see a mix of all three, depending on each country and the pace of adoption.